Devon Larratt's technique, particularly in his top roll, often presents a paradox that defies conventional arm wrestling wisdom. While most pullers are taught that a strong cup is fundamental, Devon frequently appears to neglect it, favoring a more supinated and open wrist position. This is not a flaw or a lack of technical proficiency. It is a calculated trade-off made possible by his elite development in other key areas and a deep understanding of leverage. The reasoning behind this choice lies in the interplay between several advanced concepts. The primary reason Devon can operate effectively without a dominant cup is his otherworldly rising back pressure and pronation. Think of the hand as being controlled by three primary levers: the cup, flexion, the rise, extension, and pronation, internal rotation. For most athletes, all three must be strong to be effective. However, if one lever becomes overwhelmingly powerful, it can compensate for a deficit in another. Devon's riser. His ability to apply backward and upward force with his elbow while keeping his wrist extended is so elite that it creates a structural frame against which opponents break. When combined with a stonewall static pronation that prevents opponents from turning him over onto his bicep, it forms a complete defensive system. This powerful riser-pronation complex allows him to get away with a less pronounced cup, as the immense pressure is channeled through a different, equally devastating pathway. It is crucial to understand that this is a high-level adaptation. Without such an overwhelming rising back pressure, most pullers would find neglecting the cup to be a critical weakness. This leads to the strategic use of supination during the setup. A common misconception is that pronation is the only rotational force that matters. However, a subtle supplication of the hand, rotating the palm slightly upward relative to the opponent, before the referee's start serves a critical purpose. It clears the first metacarpal, the base of the thumb, and the back of the hand from the opponent's grip. By doing this, Devon ensures the pressure of the match is settled on the ulnar side of his arm, the pinky side, rather than the radial side, the thumb side. If an opponent can apply pressure on the radial side, they can lock out his rotation. But by supinating to initiate contact, he makes his hand a fatter, more slippery handle, often forcing the opponent to grip at the very tips of his fingers. This gives him a profound leverage advantage against their wrist joint from the very first moment. This approach is fundamentally connected to the principle that arm wrestling is a static sport. The goal is not to dynamically muscle the hand into a better position after the go. Dynamic pronation, actively trying to crack the wrist with the pronator muscles alone, is often less powerful than the alternative. Devon's method involves locking his pronation in during the setup and then using his entire body as a single, rigid unit. The mental visualization is not of actively pronating, but of being a rigid steel statue that is falling away. Any increase in pronation angle is a consequence of rotating his entire torso and applying back pressure, not from his forearm muscles contracting concentrically. This static, full-body rotation is what effectively opens an opponent's hand and attacks their fingers, potentially cracking their wrist. Therefore, what appears to be a neglect of cupping is actually a specialization in an alternative, and for him, more potent mechanical pathway. He trades the direct, crushing power of the cup for the slippery, structural dominance of a supreme riser and a strategically supinated setup. He uses his hand not as a clamp, but as a lever that is maneuvered to hit the very tips of an opponent's fingers, turning their own grip into a point of weakness. It is a system built not on raw force alone, but on redirecting an opponent's pressure against them, making their own strength the instrument of their defeat. This style is a testament to the fact that at the highest levels, fundamentals are not abandoned, but are instead specialized and optimized based on an athlete's unique anatomical gifts and their deep comprehension of physics.